Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, so if we look at the motion today, is permission to build a house of worship in the field of sanctuary. So I'm as the first speaker of the road number 1. So the purpose of this problem is actually the need of every people to worshiping by their religion, whether it's in the city or in the village. So we realize that in every place, people are needed the praying itself. So the main problem or the main urgency itself in this motion is we providing a place to them to worship wherever they are and keep it easy because they will do worship in a more frequent time. So how do we make this easier to do that? And then, so how do we make it easier? We make it easier by the provision itself. The provision paper is not should be go or not should be printed in the more systematic way or in the more long way because they're needed in the few areas is very important and their need is not just as a worship house but as a place to gather with their communities. And how do we make it easier to them? The first thing is to give them the proposal to the government itself in the nearby place of them. And the government itself are the most people that know what are they doing, and they are surveying the government, the worship house itself, and the worship house itself having some trust in the government nearby area there. So with that specification that the government will know about how they are in the nearby place and how they are doing.
Okay, what kind of punishment from the government to worship place without permission?
So the punishment of the government to worship place that without a permission is to deactivate the worship place first, but not just deactivate the worship place first, but helping them to make a legalization and to clarify their existence. So their existence not just as a worshipper, but they are clarified that they are safe to the nearby environment. And go next to my argument. Yeah, after realizing that, and that is the way to really easy these problems.
Okay, as the frog side and this motion about the permission to establish a class on worship in this perspective, Islamic student, we are also disagree about this motion because of course we can have to provide the view of view or point of view of the Islamic student regarding permission to build a place of the worship in the Islam. Establishing a place of worship is encouraged as it provides an opportunity for Muslims together, make it can be together and worship and strengthen the community of bonds and every religion. This also in our perspective at the Islamic student about that motion. We are agree because the social impact have been we get in the society can be paying attention to this point of social impact. That also important in building a place of worship in our environment. To this society with the applying for a permit with the government and our local authorities, that will be provided an opportunity to come to communication with the surrounding community and others any concerning issues that will be arise, and to raise the mutual beneficial understanding and cooperation in relationship mutualism. And then I will explain what was their information. As well, we have here from the pro side one. There's new view around establishing place in worship is also needed. We all agree about that because why? Establishing place in worship, like I said before, that if been raised public order and harmony going with. Okay.
Okay, the question here, did you ever look that the spreading of worship place which didn't have any permission is places before, and did you agree with this spreading of worship place without any permission right now? Thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Did you never do? That's in the fact of the field. That spreading of worship place without permission right now is very, very many. And did you agree? Do you agree with our question? The answer is yes or no. Thank you.
Also, as with Prostate, we also agree about their permission for the establishing place of worship. Because why? As I said before, the order and harmony that will be created in the society, like have been said before from the other group. And first, let me explain why must this have why the permission of establishing place the worship is must be their permission. That's because for make a social will be orderly under establishing a place of worship. Because in this area, that is digital that we have been placed in terms about relationship ascension about religion and will increase if that no permission about that. So the people in our society will make the will things that will dance about the establishing place of the worship. With this accessory will be make a bad impact on there, and anti-tolerance will be great and that environment and make the harmony and the environment of the okay, maybe just now. Thank you.
Very much for the time. Okay, well, the core team said that they will agree to this motion that they were they're going to that we need to permission to establishing for worship place. Of course, here as the Putra team, we really disagree for this. Okay, why? Because if you know together, it's talking about tolerance. We are going to talking about tolerance. Of course, we don't need to we don't need to make us really difficult to think about the registration or about the administration of that permission, and also think about the condition about in society, of course. So actually, that's not really needed to permit for establishing place of worship itself. And because in the constitution law, actually, that's talking about the human right in religion, section 28A, that talk that all people is basically freedom to joining the religion. So if the religion is a religion, of course, why the place of worship of them is not legal in our country? Of course, that's become the order. So the worship aside can be the proof that there is the existence of the religion itself. So if our religion, of course, if the religions in our country, yeah, and that's all the religion, so why they are forbidden to, it mean like, so difficult, they need to, permission to think about, to establish, but, okay, that's our, and so, that becomes the important point of the contract is the establishing of the rule, the establishing of the place of worship. The Muslim is not disrupt. If not, that's not disrupt to the stability of social in society. Of course, that will not. That do not need the administration or regulation of permission to establish the place of worship itself. Because by the side of the society and the side of the side of the establishment, of course, that's only that we is okay. We on that.
Sorry. Your place.
Okay, in the name of Allah, let's begin our video today. I'm standing here as the first speaker from the contract team, standing here actually to reject with our motion today, which sound the permission for establishing place of worship from the perspective of Islamic students. And now for the beginning, I want to tell to all of you, did you ever think that all of first speaker from this team didn't tell us about definitions and background of our motion today, my brothers? So I'm gonna begin this debate to tell all of you the definition firstly and the background of motion today, my brothers. And the argument here, the definitions is beginning from the all permissions. The permission in this motion means that from the opposite team, society around its area. So it means that permission for establishing place of worship, it means that permission for all society around its area, my brother. And next to the meaning of places of worship, it means that the place of worship for all religions, my brothers. And next to the last meanings and definitions, that the perspective of Islamic students, it means that the roles of every Islamic students, my dear brothers. Now after delivering the definitions, I will tell all of you the background of this motion today. So why this motion can be clear and become the motion of our debate today. So that that there are so many places of worship or worship places that is built without permission in our beloved country now. So that this the motion, the main point in this debate is that there are so many place of worship that is built without permissions. And we're coming here by bringing two aspects. The first aspect is coming from the rule aspect that will be delivered by me. That's the first thing from the contract team. And also the second aspect is what will come from the field aspect that will be delivered by the second speaker of the team. And now from the rule aspect, let me tell you first thing about my human members. So first argument is coming from the rule aspect, which sound there is clear rule of prohibitions, the worship place that is built without permissions. So why do I say that? Because there is a religious agreement letter that is written on it that every worship is without permission. So that from all argument that has been delivered by me as the contract team or opposite team, it shows that we absolutely and very disagree with our motion today. And it shows that permissions for establishing places of worship from the perspective of Islamic principle is not important. So that, any question?
You were all saying that. You were all saying the permission and all and stuff. But you know that we're in this motion, we talk about in the perspective of Islam.
Okay, I understand what you said like this. I understand what you said that we talk about the permission for establishing place of worship from the perspective of Islamic students. So it means that the role of every Islamic students, it has to make some peel away from all these permissions. Okay, now.
Okay, now the turn of the second speaker from the pro team.
So as we see in the Cilegon government rejects the building of the local worship places, and then so that we need the special forces from the government itself to make sure everything is going on track. They make sure that the religion gets the permission at ease. So, and then second one, they suppress the people who rejects, so they doesn't make those chaotic things. Okay, now next, I'm gonna talk about agencies. Some people, some place needs the worship place urgently, because some place doesn't have their own worship place for their religion. Then, so what? They need to go kilometers and miles away only for doing their worship activities, and they need to do that. I think that's all for me.
What is the shape of permissions do you mean?
We make those things more systematic, and then we do like proposals. We give them proposals, and we make them as clear as possible.
Okay? Judging by all of what you have already said, you've always talked about permission. Whether we as an Islamic student going to school doesn't really have an appointment in the permission. You still didn't say why do you disagree the permission itself. I still don't get it. You always said about permission. And for us the contra one, you said that it's difficult to following the government. Is it really? Where's the difficult between disobeying the government or just follow the government's rule? Because government has already made a better moral and value in that orders and laws. If you don't know, this permission for establishing place of worship from the perspective of Islamic student can make a harmony and public order religious. And I'm going to remind you again that Indonesia is a democracy country. It's not just an Islam country. Remember that. This is a democracy country, people. We have to follow the government side because we as the santri, what? Okay, I'm sorry.
How is the mechanism your permission until go to the government? How the mechanism of that? Can you explain to me?
We don't talk about how's the permission. We talk right now about is this good for Islamic student? The permission for Islamic place of worship, is this good for Islamic student boarding school? We don't talk about how the permission goes. We don't talk about like that in here. We're talking about this perspective of Islamic student boarding school. Remember, people. Remember the team. And if you still disagree about this, let me tell if you know the history, Sultan Muhammad Al-Fatih, when he conquered Constantinople, he agreed that courage and other religions been placed in Constantinople. He didn't move in Marwa. He didn't give. No, you don't have to build this worship into Islam country. No, and that's why Constantinople, in the era of the 1453, is the most harmony country in the world. That's why this permission for establishing place of worship from the perspective of Islamic student is really good for us, based on the history of Sultan Muhammad Al-Fatih, and I didn't mention Sultan Sulaimah Al-Ayyubi made these goals too, and Khalifah Umar bin Khattab also. If you know the story already, I didn't want to tell you because you're an Islamic student very soon. I believe that you know that story itself. It's already proven in the history that if we gave the permission for establishing place of worship to the government, it is good for Islamic student body school. That's enough for me. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much for that. The first will be start from 1, 2, 3. Governor Lughoh. The largest I respect. I'm the second speaker in this debate as the counter team. This would like to give you explanation about this motion. You have to understand and get meaning of this motion first. And you don't give the definition of this motion, just like the permission and worship. Okay, you just give the explanation that worship have to get the permission of this country and the government. Okay, this country as the basically national applied tolerance, social aspect, and we are as the human in this country, Indonesian nation has human right in rule of law that 78 serve first. That's about the worship place in Indonesia. About how we don't need permission for government, the government. And this is so clear for us as the religion country to build a worship place by free without a permission. You are as the pro government team say that we need to permission from the government and get the make it ready to place and make harmony and comfortable life. So what you guarantee make like that to make the harmony of the people can get the build of worship place. Logically, we have Logically, we have a build which we can build and raise up our belief and our pillar to our God each other. Beside, okay, thanks. Because beside this problem, exactly was human right for us. Therefore, the largest I respect, I am the second speaker as this contract to really receive in this motion. Because why? Because and reviews the point of contract, because we need to know together the largest I respect. Will the worship is not disturb stability of society. Because why? Because the existing worship place as approved so many religions in this country as the law of the social aspect that refer to tolerance, because we are as the people and society in this country, Indonesia, we have to follow and obey the rule and law regulation that's comprehensive in Indonesia. That's about the worship and religion. That's a built religion in the place that you mean, and the existence in this country as the law of social aspect that's referred to tolerance, and it's not mislead our direction. Okay, it's not about how we believe our God and mislead our direction to our God. No, this is maybe under Islamic. No, I'm not believe the Christian. Okay, thank you very much. Yes.
Well, I'm the second speaker of Contra team absolutely reject and very, very unbelievable with our motion today, which sounds permission of establishing place of worship from the perspective of Islamic students. But before that, let me to deliver the mistake that has been delivered by the first pro team and the second pro team. The first mistake comes from the first pro. He said that by this permission, it shows that will be easier. Did you never think and look in the fact of the field that if we use the permission for any worship of place, it shows that will make anyone which want to bully the worship of place is difficult. It shows that by the permission of worship place will not make us easier, but will make us difficult to applicate it. Thank you. And the second mistake from the pro tool, he said that there's something necessary here is about perspective of Islamic. Did you never think and look to the fact of the field that the word that we are debating right now is about the permission? Because why? Because if we think about the Islamic understanding perspective, there are a general thing, there are general opinion, there are general perspective of us. It shows that this is not necessary to debate it. So the word that you are strongly believe here is about the permission is unnecessary. Thank you. And then I think my argument is
you were saying that permission to government is difficult, right?
Thank you.
Wait, I will say
that he didn't listen correctly. I will say that the first pro said that by the permission will make easier. Meanwhile, in the fact of the field, the permission by the building of worship place is more make us difficult to applicate it. It shows that their argument is very, very unbelievable and absolutely far away from the trustworthy. And now the argument, my argument, taken from the aspect of the faith or reality aspect, which sounds establishing of worship place didn't need to permission. Why do you understand? Because in together, that if we are looking now in the fact of the field or in our environment, there's many or worship building here is not then have any permission. And our government, there is no some worship place that's receive the punishment, the prohibition from the government. It shows that our government and our environment believe and agree that permission for worship place is unnecessary.
Okay, now please.
It is unnecessary. It shows that's why I am the second speaker of contracting strongly believe and bravely to state that permission for establishing place is not necessary for absolutely. So that's why the something necessary is permission for building of worship is unnecessary and unbelievable. Absolutely. Thank you.
Now we go to the third speaker from the team, pro team. This is conclusions, no QI for this session.
Thank you for the opportunity. Before I jump to conclusions, I want to rebuttal what the controversial spoke. They said that their big point is that if there is no permissions, everyone will build their worship place freely. But in fact, that in this country, majority of the religions is Islam. There's a lot of worship place in our country, specifically it's a mosque. But there's a lot of mosques which is built illegally in our country. But you didn't even mention that building is illegal, and you don't get any methods in order to faced with that kind of problems. You know, we know that the contrary states really stressing the point of the existed illegal worship place, existed illegal worship place that exists in our country. But you don't have give any method how we face the existed illegal worship place. But we as a government really believe that by giving them permissions to be legal in Indonesia, we give them freedom to give freedom to build and also give the permission to the existing worship place, but it doesn't mean that everyone can build the worship place such as church, mosque, and others freely. But we give them chance to legalize the illegal thing that is already exists. And we, although we give the permissions to the worship place, we also consider all the aspects of the worship place that is going to be built. We're not just giving them permission freely, but we also give them considerations how they can make the worship place in the specific area, such as for example, when you are going to build a church in specific area, we face a lot of problems, such as permissions and also public sentiment. We know that public sentiment is the most challenging thing that we face as the worship place builders, and that's why we need to face the public sentiment. Such as you, by the construction, give a lot of sentiment to the worship place that are going to be built. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that giving permission is one of the solutions in order to give the freedom of expressing their own religions. And also, what is the urge of building the worship place in our country? We know that we live heterogen, and we live with a lot of people, not just Islamic people. We also live with Christian. We also live with the Buddhism and so the Hindu. That's why we need to give permission to them to express their own religions, to express their own belief, their own faith. But why you don't give any permission or change them to believe in their own faith, in their own religion? It means that you are conservative and you didn't even think of the other religions, other religions' freedom expressions. That's why you only think about Islam. Although Islam is majority religions in Indonesia, we give them a lot of freedom, such as building a worship place is illegal. We know you don't mention that there's a lot of mosques building illegal in Indonesia, but we don't give a care about that. We don't give a care that things is existed. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, if you just talking about the take permission, yeah, just looking for the countries that there is no religious government. If you want to be liberal, just feel like that, because my religion was teaching about the behavior first thing first. And exactly, we are concluding from this motion exactly to make community harmony and public order. And besides, according from the Kitab Fathul Bari Imam Hajar Asqalani, it was said obedience to the government is better than rebellion. And the second, it is democracy. Because Indonesia, not a Muslim country, we should obey the laws of government. And where are you thinking about this? And including from the Imam Abdullah bin Ali bin Muhammad Al-Haddad and the JAWA books, if a leader make a rules from the benefit of the people and serious about paying attention to them and has good performance, then the people must help him. Exactly. Obey to government, it was teach our religion. What your religion about this? And exactly, I want to ask you first, what a religion that don't teach about no permission to make some buildings? If there is some problem, who make a responsibility if there is problem? There is no, exactly. And we are from the affirmative exactly agree about this motion, because this motion is exactly as suitable as our religion. Because if you want to know about the main point about the debate, is the last of the world in the perspective of Islamic student. Now in the laws of views. Did you get it? Yeah, maybe that's time for me.
Well, the concerned judges, that's the permission for establishing place for worship from the permissive student. That's the first I want to elaborate about my second speaker. That's tolerance. What the tolerance? Indonesia have 5 religions, isn't it? And it's really unlimited. So logically, if religion has admitted, why must worship place need a permission? That's and according to status quo, that's government understand about the tolerance. Therefore, we permission for establishing place of worship, and the process that's in this era need permission, isn't it? Permission of worship place include the religion permission. Therefore, we have permission, but our religion has permission. It's include to permission, include to religion permission, isn't it? And then the process that's protective Islamic student. We have the Islamic student here. We have to bet according to Islamic student. You are an Islamic student, right? And then, therefore, we have debate about a prospective Islamic student. Because why? Because we are as Islamic student. And then, the first said that permission for establishing place for worship, make harmony, isn't it? You know, there's nothing to connection between make the harmony and permission. There's nothing to work. How can you say? How can you think that harmony and permission? That's nothing to relation to the judges. And I want to for second speaker. That's bring the social aspect. The establishing place of worship not disturb. If not disturb, the sociality. That's no problem. Because why? Because Rasulullah said that all in this place, in this world, it's place for worship. That's not bad in this time. So that's also disagree with what there's no problem for this third speaker. And also disagree with this question. Why? Because we don't make harmony without permission, isn't it? Harmony is talk about the society. Harmony talk about the tolerance, not the permission. And maybe that's that for me.
Well, in the name of Allah, most gracious and most merciful, dear judges, before we go to the conclusion here, I want to rebuttal all the mistakes what have been delivered from the first pro and the second pro teams. Well, let's go to the rebuttal. Here we have here together that the first pro has said that giving permission. Giving permission here means that you are asking the permissions from the government and from the social neighbors, which means that the permission from us because who we are. So we must ask permission here from the government or from the social aspect. And the second thing is the big mistakes are coming from the first things and the second things. Why I say like that? Because we have here together that they are always saying the perspective in Islam, but we just look to the motion here. The motion here sounds that the worship place, and the worship means here it's for general, not just for Islam, for Christian, for Hindu, or for Buddha. This is for general. So from here, we can know together that they are not understanding how to debate in this competition. And the second thing here, the most big mistake here, they don't know the theory from this debate. They are asking the solution from here. But in this theory of the debate here, we are here in this debate are not giving the solution. Why is it so? Because this comes from the principal aspect, which are not no need for giving the solution. And here let's go to the conclusion from all the arguments that have been delivered from the first speaker and the second speaker. Well, here we have listened together what have been delivered from my things. They have said that here the establishing of worship place didn't need of the having permission. Why is it so? Because we just look at the fact of the field in this country, Indonesia. We have looked together. Many worship places are built without permissions here. Just look from the fact of the field. And here also, these all which are built without permission are accepted by the social or by the neighbors of that building. So from here, we can know together that the permit for not only for giving the permission for establishing the places for worship in the perspective of Islamic students. And from here also we're going to rules. Even though there is the rules that we doesn't not giving the permission, but here we doesn't get punishment for building the worship places. Here, he has said that from the first speaker, he has said that we will get the punishment, and the punishment is closing the place. We have to know together that closing the places is not the punishment, but it's an action from the government. From here, all the mistakes, and we can see and we can look together that they from the pro team didn't understand the construct and the motion for our debating in this day. And we have to know together the conclusion that has been delivered here is that we must establish, or establishing of worship places no need for giving the permission. Why? Because all of it are accepted by the neighbors. Why? Because it giving the good impacts to the neighbors. And in here, I want to emphasize all of you here. We don't know who are going to be the winner, but we can see who will be the winner. And it's from me. Thank you.